Hello everyone, good morning. We'll just continue with our MVC session. Okay, so in our last class, we have discussed about what is MVC, what are the basics of MVC. Okay, so basically what we discussed in our ASP.NET, we'll have two things. One is design phase and code behind. Code behind is what our ASPX.cs, design is our ASPX. Okay, so here we will have, for example, if we want to create 3 pages, then we need to create 3 web forms, and 3 web forms, each and every web form will contain what? One ASPX file and one CS file. Okay. Similarly, if you need 100 pages, you need to do the same. Okay. So basically, MVC. So in MVC, the full form of MVC is model view controller. Model is responsible for business logic. View is responsible for UI logic, and a controller is responsible to provide communication between model and view and model, because model cannot directly communicate with the view and view cannot directly communicate with model. So that's the reason controller is called as heart of MVC execution. Okay, so this is what. So, so ASP.NET was so popular in olden days, but how come, why we are moving towards MVC? So for that, we have some drawbacks with the ASP, so many drawbacks with ASP.NET. So I have just noted down few. So you need to remember like 3-4 points at least whenever you are answering in interviews. Okay, so first one, response time. The response time of MVC application is faster than ASP.NET. Why? Because see, for example, in ASP.NET. So if you need 100 web pages, you need to create 100 web forms, and we'll have 100 CX files and 100 ASPX files and 100 CS files. But in MVC, it's not like that. If you want 100 pages, you can create one controller, single controller, one model also, and you can bind the complete UI data or 100 pages data into what from this controller and view. So now what is happening here? So you need 100 views and 100 views and one controller and one model. Then what will happen? One or two files. But in ASP.NET, what is happening? We need to create 200, minimum 200. Why? Means whenever you create one a web form, one ASPX and one CS file will be created. Almost 200 files we are creating there, and we cannot pass the code from one page to another page. See, one page code won't interact with other page code or something, so that page codes are simply restricted in that particular page only. Okay, so that is what. So because of what is happening, when the burden on the server is increasing, automatically the performance will decrease. Agree for that? So that is the reason performance issues, like response time. That's what I told. No, bandwidth consumption. So because of XYZ reasons, what will happen, like whenever we are doing the state management techniques or view state or something, what will happen? The bandwidth consumption of the computer will increase with the ASP.NET application. So whenever the bandwidth increased, then what will happen automatically? The system or computer performance will be reduced. So more bandwidth consumption is happening with ASP.NET application, but we can avoid that by using MVC. HTML consumption. So customization. So HTML customization. HTML customization, if you people remember our ASP.NET, all the control code, it looks like this one. Okay. But in MVC, the same code we can write like this. That means what happened? So the garbage thing of HTML got removed, and they kept only few things, whichever is needed. And so we are getting the same output. Then what is happening? So any user, so like, the people who are having minimum knowledge and coding also, they can easily understand this MVC related HTML. So that's the reason HTML customization we called. Okay, and now the last one is unit testing. So basically, unit testing is one of the most important thing. So if we have time in our last sessions, we'll try to cover unit testing. Otherwise, I will give some theoretical knowledge on unit testing. Okay. So So simple. So for example, if you have Facebook application, so now people tell me, like, so now people tell me what all things we need to test in Facebook. So like, you implement a login page. Okay. So now, uh, for telling login page is working perfectly, nothing is breaking, then what scenarios you need to test? No, tell me, what is the first scenario? You people should tell me this. Okay, what is the positive scenario? First tell me. Perfect. So Hashni, whatever you told, that is correct. Yeah, Kiran, correct. Correct, Garima. So valid username, comma, valid password. See, when you will tell it is working, so when you enter valid username and password, it should redirect to home page. Now, what is the second scenario? Correct username, comma, wrong password. We need to test this scenario. So when you and third one, tell me. Yeah, this one. Okay. So this one, I'm just copy pasting. Okay. And what more scenarios? I think these four scenarios. Okay, got it. So see here, people see here now. So now what will happen? So a tester will test everything, and the code will be released. After the next release, what will happen? So they simply kept registration functionality. Now registration. Now what you will do here? So first we need to check whether the values are saving in database or not. What is the second one? See, like, your registration test, whatever you done in our ASP.NET recently, like individual value should save in DB table. Okay. And what else? And so on, etc. Now, initially, when they implemented this one. So for example, I have four testers, or I have some three testers. Just think like this. Or three QA team or something, three members of QA team. Now what they will do? So for a sprint, for login page, it may take 7 days for implementing. Okay. So then what will happen? This testing team will test these four scenarios in 2 days. So why? Because development happened for 5 days. If you think like that, 2 days for testing. 2 days for testing. Now how many they tested? So four scenario. Now what happened? Now, now again, this is also same 2 days of testing now. Now people tell me how many scenarios they need to test now. How many scenarios? Do they need to test this login also now? Yes or no? So login related 4 plus this one, registration related 2 or 3. Now what happened? Now some extra features came. Now 3 features came. Now what will happen? Again 2 days. This 3 features 4, 4, 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4. Now what happened? Equals to what? 12. Now here what? So 4 plus 3, 7. 7 plus 12, 19. Now people tell me, do you people think this 2 days of time enough for testing 19 scenarios now? No. So now what will happen? So now what happened? Next sprint will come. Again, they need, why I'm saying every time we need to test everything. For example, if I change some code, see registration and login both are interlinked. If registration is successful, then only login should work. Okay. Login should work from where? Some, like, everything is interlinked. So if someone change by mistakenly something, then what will happen? All the functionality will break. That is the reason we need to test everything. Now for 2 testers in 2 days, it will be difficult to cover some 50 scenarios or 60 scenarios or something. That is the theory. So they may miss some scenarios. Then what will happen? So it may rise for what? It may lead to create some new bugs or something. Then what will happen? Fine. These testers are also human beings. Whatever they can test, they will try to do that. Okay. So like, so then they may miss some scenarios or something. In that case, what will happen? It may create new bugs. So in order to avoid that, we have a concept called unit testing. So any testing people here in this group, 46 people, raise your hand. Okay. Then Asha, you are not telling us the test cases. Okay, Rajeshri, you are also not telling. So if you tell us, then we will learn. That's why you're not telling what. You guys are not telling because your Vishwasar will learn testing scenarios also. That's correct. Okay, they will understand this pain, this something. So whenever the functionalities are increasing, thanks for raising hands. Okay, so now what will happen? Unit testing. What will happen? Like these developers, like we people, what we will do whenever we are implementing some feature, we'll create unit test cases. What is unit test cases? Simple. We'll provide some mock data or some dummy data, and so we will mock data. We'll use mock data, dummy data, and we'll try to automate unit test cases, or not automate, or we'll write some unit test cases. What is the unit test cases will do means these things. So no, that is different. So this will do. So first, what I will do, I will give some username and I will give valid password. Then it should provide success message to me. When I use a correct username and wrong password, it should give 404 error or something, page not found or invalid credentials come something like. Okay, when something else like this, then what will happen? So now the testers will test anyway, but we also will do some, we will write some unit test cases in coding. Then what will happen? So we are just we are giving dummy data and we are doing all these operations. Then simply, so we are reducing the burden on the testers. See, testers cannot test all the 1,000 scenarios. Sometimes they may skip few scenarios. But if they are unlucky or something, Unluckily, if they got some bug in that, then simply they will score now our Asha and other people will definitely know. Like so, their manager will definitely scold them. So why you miss the scenario? So see, sometimes sometimes if you feel like everything is working fine, but someone the developer guys, what happens? So they removed one file or one code or something. Or the deployment team, whenever they are deploying some code or something, they miss one file, then completely it is fail, and simply they will ask like our tester like, so what happened, why you left the scenario? Okay, so then they will have a healthy conversation in the conference room. Can you come to my conference room? So can you come to this 0106 conference room, like that they will tell. So they will you and your manager and other tester, your lead will sit there, and they will you people have some beautiful conversation which you will never forget. And after that they will tell, okay, so next time onwards please focus clearly, like that they will tell, and they'll ask you to leave. Okay, so like this. So this is the reason unit testing came into picture. So this unit testing, so by using mock data, dummy data, we can just test the functionality of the application. If unit test case is failed, means you are breaking some functionality. So so whenever you are implementing the code, whenever you are building the solution, automatically unit test cases will run, and the developer will came to know which test case is passing, which test case is failing. Everything they can check from there. So anyway, testers will test, but still the burden on the testers will decrease here, and the number of issues or bugs will be decreased. That is what the advantage of unit testing. Okay, so this is what unit testing. Unit testing is not possible in our MVC application, sorry, ASP.NET application, but that is possible in our MVC application. Okay, so this is what the basics of MVC. So just no, just note down these 5 points. So the challenge with unit testing is outside or in the internet or something, you don't get the good materials for them. The reason for that, only real-time people can explain unit testing concept. Why? Because the traditional trainers or some, those people cannot explain unit testing. So the real-time people only will know the pain of this unit testing. Got it? Any questions here up to now? Yes, no, please respond. Okay. Home response time is fine. So when you are explaining about problems with the ASP.NET response time, then they will understand. Okay. So these points are common for MVC and ASP.NET. Okay, that's the reason we just give straightforward response time. So response time means what? So that is slow in ASP.NET, high in MVC, bandwidth consumption. It's high in ASP.NET, low in MVC. HTML customization. It is difficult in ASP.NET and easy in MVC. Reusability of code behind classes. So like, one controller we can create. So that's what unit testing. So the explanation for them we have given below. So note down this to HTML and unit testing.
ఈ విజయవాడ ప్రజల కోసం విజయవాడ ప్రాంతం కోసం విజయవాడ నగరం కోసం నా దగ్గర ఎవరైనా నేను వాడేస్తాను.
Done, right? Okay, so done, everyone. So basically, this is what the MVC request flow. So how it is like, so model view controller. So what will happen like, so in our previous architecture like ASP.NET, there we'll have ASPX and CS. So here what is happening here? So we are just dividing into the parts. So like, that's what we are just this compresses this UI and CX, ASPX and CS files into few parts. It's like a three-layered architecture. Okay. So here what will happen? So here it is a middle layer, data access layer, and controller. UI is always will be there. So what will happen? Like, model. Model, what will happen? So for example, if you want to divide the classes also, you can write some extra classes and you can use them. So what is data access layer means? So this is used to communicate with our, database. So simply data access layer is nothing but we can call it as a model only. From model, in our model, we can write the data access layer logic or, simple. For example, select star from table name. So you will, so that is data access layer related code. You will specify that in your model, or, you can create some such, what is data access layers are, that means, so simple class only. You will create one class. Okay. So simply you will create one class and you will use them. So from model, you can communicate with data access layer or data access layer to model, or vice versa, or you can keep all data access layer code in your model also. What will happen? This guy controller will connect with model and he will get the data. And after that, what will happen? So this controller will pass the data to view. So that's the reason model view controller. So what will the step one? So this middle layer. So actually what happened like ASPX and CS is compressed into controller. Middle layer is nothing but model. Data access layer is data access layer. This is step one. You will create model. Step two, you will create controller. Step three, you will create what view. So controller to view, or see, controller to model. We can pass in two ways, but we cannot directly pass the data from model to view. So this is what our MVC request flow, but this is not MVC life cycle. We have some other topic we have. So there I will explain about MVC life cycle somewhere. So once we done with the differences, then I will explain this is what the execution flow. Then I will explain about a few more things. Okay. For now, just this diagram. Just note down the diagram, and after that I will show the request flow. Like, we have model view controller. Where the request will come first? Model or view or controller. So if we get something, how the model is identifying controller, how the controller is identifying model, how controller is identifying the view. All these things I will tell in next topic today only. Okay. So I will explain this one now, and tomorrow I will also explain one more time. Okay. So yeah, ASP.NET MVC request flow. So first, when you enter www.url.com, you entered some URL like this. Okay. So then what will happen? So now how we are getting the response? What happening there? So who will hit first? The first step one will be controller. Before controller, we have something XYZ is there. That XYZ I will tell. Okay. But our main execution flow will start from here only. Okay. We have some XYZ. That person is really awesome. So we are going to see that. Okay. But okay. For before getting the request response, what is happening? So first controller. Okay, controller. So now controller is fine. So now this controller will find some action method. So what is this action method? Simple, it's like a method only. Okay, so action method. So in that action method, this action method will decide which model, comma, which view we need to. So for example, it will get the data from model and it will pass to view. It will get the data from where? Model, and it will pass to view. But view cannot directly pass by using what? Controller only. So got it now? So this is what the request flow of MVC. First initially controller, after that some action method, after that model, and which view it is. So it will get the data from model or database or something, and it will pass to view. So then what will happen? All the data will be bind in the view. Okay, got it? Anyone have questions here? So that's what here I told. Controller. Initially controller. This controller will find the action method. Depending upon the action, controller create the object to model. Model turns the data access layer, which fetches the data in the model. This data will be filled in model, then passed to the view. That is what our user interface. So initially what? Controller. So controller will find the which action method is. It is. Then what will happen? The action method will tell, sir, this is what the model. And this model, what is the model? Model will do. It needs to communicate with database and it needs to get the data. So that is what this RDMS is nothing but our database. It will get the data and pass the data to whom? Controller. Pass the data to whom? Controller. What the controller will do? Again, this will pass to our view. That means to our user interface. Got it? Sir, what is this URL.com means? I just kept some dummy URL. So www.abcd.com. So when you enter this one, initially it will come to controller. So after that, it will go to some action method. So see, please listen carefully. If when I'm explaining, if you are not listening, then what should I do? It's a dummy URL. I just kept like that. This dotted line. So we need to, that means, so we are passing data from model to view, but that won't happen directly, right? That's the reason we just kept like that. So can we pass the data from model to view directly? Yes or no? No. That's the reason I kept like this. So this arrow means what? So we are directly passing or getting the information from one to another layer. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, Durga Lakshmi, now tell me. So based upon your understanding, I will explain. Two people. One is Om, Yes, and Durga Lakshmi. Yeah, Durga Lakshmi, how can I call you? And Om. Yes, Om, tell me. So now you ask me the doubt, I will explain on that. I will continue to. So, so based upon, for example, see, we cannot pass the data from model to view directly, Kiran. So who will pass the data? Yeah, no problem. So, Om, you can ask me the question, please. So I will explain one more time. So we cannot pass the data from model to anyway. See, I will explain now. Tomorrow again, I will spend some 15 minutes time for explanation of this one again. Okay, okay. So now tell me, Durga Lakshmi, what is your doubt? Sir, I did not understand this one means I will explain in detail about, I will stretch something more on that and I will explain. That's what I'm saying. See, now see, Kiran asked me some question. So like it's like a question, sir. This thing, and Garima asked something. So like that. That's what I meant. Where it is going from controller and action result. That's okay. So this action result partner. So when we start our MVC program, then you will understand. Okay. So if you don't remember action result also, for now that is fine. Why? Because your entire life you will work on action result only. Okay. For now, so see, I kept here, but in our diagram that it's not there. So directly I will go with model only then. You don't need to confuse on that. Got it now? Say Om. Okay, so now when user enters the URL, actually we have a concept called routing. Okay, so routing. So that routing, wait for 1 or 2 classes. I will explain everything about routing. So first it will go to routing, route config file. But now I am just removing this one. Okay. For now, for today, you can forget that one. Okay. But maybe after 2 days, we will spend minimum 2 days of time on routing. Then I will explain everything about routing. Okay. Just wait and observe what I'm saying. After 3-4 classes, slowly, concept by concept. So see, everything is like continuation to the previous topic. Oh my God, something happened. Okay. So wait. Hmm. Okay. So now see, first step. So when we enter the URL, what will happen? Initially in our MVC, it will reach the controller. Okay. It will reach the controller. So from controller, what will happen? It will ask the model like boss, like from my user interface, I got a request like so they are asking for facebook.com. So what should come in our facebook.com? Tell me. So when you open facebook.com, then it should redirect to login page, right? Login page. Then whatever the information we needed for login page, then this guy will tell like, sir, controller, they will tell like, controller, we got a request from the user like to get the login page. Then what will happen? So these guys will try to interact with the login page. So now for login page or something, what we need information of what, which view we need to interact and which model we need to interact. So now this guy will check which model it is. Now, for example, if they found the model, after finding the model, what will happen? Simply the model details they will keep somewhere. And so what is the responsibility of model? People tell me so for declaring the properties and all, and for getting the data from where? Database. Yes or no? So data for getting the data from database means so there we are calling the model as data access layer also we can call it as, or we can implement the business logic also in our model. Okay, got it. So Okay, so now our data access layer will get the data from where database, and after that where the data will be passed again to controller. Okay, what will happen? This controller will take the data and this will pass back to the user interface. That means our HTML page. Then what will happen? That will display in our UI and it will show the all required information in the user interface. That is what happening. So simple. So I'm just telling first controller will accept the request and process the request and generate the response. So in that process, what is happening? It is trying to find which model it is and which view it is. Okay. See, for example, if I have 100 views, okay, if I have 100 views, then which view I need to pick every time. So every time single view only it will display, or multiple views it will display. Every time the views will change. Yes or no? Right? So for that reason, we always need to check which view it is, which model it is. So who is taking care then? Who is taking care? Tell me, people tell me, who is finding which view it is and which model it is? Who is finding? Controller. Got it? So now everyone got it now? Yeah, in controller action method only. Correct, Kiran. You are also correct. But anyway, that action is is also part of control. That's why we can tell controller. Okay, fine. So tomorrow morning I will explain one more time and we'll go with the diagrams and notes. Thank you all for joining. So within 2-3 days I will share this book with you guys. Okay. I did not share the MVC book, right? Yes, no, please confirm. If not, okay. So okay, fine. Not within 1 or 2 days I will share. So maybe after the basics I will give the book for everyone. Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you all for joining. We'll meet tomorrow. We'll have some healthy sessions in MVC. Don't miss even a single class in MVC. It's my request. If you miss the session, then you don't understand anything. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow.